She-Hulk, episode 8. Let's talk about it. Um, in order to talk about episode 8, unfortunately, we're going to have to recap episode 7 just slightly.
Sure.
Okay? What happened in it? They went to Blonsky's cabin or retreat.
His retreat.
She had a bit of a breakthrough.
Yes.
Okay? But generally speaking, the only thing that happened that's important is that the guy she was dating from the wedding, oh my goodness,
he stole her.
Turned out to be, something that other than what he was pretending to be. He was bad guy. Who could have guessed?
Yeah.
Who could have seen that coming? He stole some information.
Yes.
Realistically, I thought that the point of him working his way into her bedroom was so that he could get a blood sample.
Which he may have done. I don't know.
She may have done, but I thought they might have showed that. Because otherwise, he could have stole her information while she went to the washroom.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, how often do you get to have relations with a Hulk?
Yeah, so maybe it was a two-pronged attack.
Ooh.
Right? Is there anything else in that episode that's really worth talking about?
No, I mean, there was some fun stuff with like the extras kind of guys.
Again.
They were just like interesting characters.
Yeah, like the not mammoth guy, the man bull guy, and the was it
I can't remember his name.
El Librador, not El Librador, but like a.
But he's almost but he's not.
Yeah, but he is, but he's not.
He's a swashbuckler, he says, not
the porcupine guy.
Porcupine guy was interesting.
But honestly, not real memorable characters for me.
No, and I mean, I think those guys are like in comics, but they're like.
I'm sure they are.
Your C-listers.
But F-listers.
F-listers even.
Yeah.
That's excessive.
Never really heard of them myself, but again, they were fun little characters. Did it really make the show special for me? I don't think so much.
No.
No. One of, again, on par with a lot of the other episodes where I just kind of could have done without.
Well, but at least, you know what? I was more entertained with the writing in that episode than I have been since episode 2, maybe.
Yeah.
Like it had points in the show where I was actually like, haha, like I laughed. And I haven't felt that throughout this slump of a season.
And that's great, but again, it's just a filler episode for me.
Why? They're all filler episodes.
Except for that tiny little part that was important.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's enough said about issue 7. We'll get right on to number 8. What?
Issue?
I say issue when I mean episode.
Mm-hmm.
Quite often, take a look back at some of the other videos. You'll find that's a frequent thing. All right. Episode 8.
Episode 8.
Better?
Yeah. Which is good because I've hit a point where
you don't
these
have
last couple I've been
expectation has not been high.
No.
Could you say that?
No, and I've been dreading watching them, and at least now these episode 7 and this one, I got to a point where I'm finding watching it tolerable.
I didn't find that so much with episode 7.
Well, I thought some of the stuff
was
funny.
Was it on the rise? It's kind of like
it's a slow. It was like
it's very slow.
It started here, and then it went like this.
It was definitely like a roller coaster.
That's your first drop, and now we're kind of on the slow build of.
It's on one of those small bumps in the ride.
Yeah, something's gonna happen, but we're coming to the end.
So I get that a lot of people have enjoyed this series.
Yeah.
And that it may or may not be an unpopular opinion to dislike this series. Okay.
It feels like a pretty even split of people who hate this series.
The people who like it really like it.
They really do. And they're willing to defend it.
So yeah, and the people who dislike it really dislike it. I mean,
You know what bothers me the most about the fact that I'm one of these people that dislikes it is anytime I'm like, no, I don't like She-Hulk, and then I've got you get like the, what are you, a misogynist or
No,
those kinds of things. No, I just don't like this show. It's
I
not because she's a
genuinely
she or
would
whatever.
like this show to be better,
That's what I
and
want.
was genuinely excited about this character coming to life on the screen.
Absolutely.
It just unfortunately lacked something,
It just
you
didn't
know,
pan out.
and it, unfortunately, just like in this episode, was her character has been overshined over and over again in this series.
Yeah.
Um, tell me, tell me right now that Daredevil wasn't the best part of this episode.
I can't tell you that because it most certainly was. The only like the one big saving grace to this piece is we finally got like some reasonable action sequence
Yeah.
out of what was happening.
I could have honestly used the Daredevil She-Hulk fight. I could have had that go longer.
Yeah.
You know, not a bad little tidbit of action.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was looking interesting. Like there was
Which,
bits that were like something was going to happen. And
which made this episode kind of more of a step above the previous episodes that I've seen. Seeing Daredevil in his like more of a classic
with the red and gold
suit, cool, but is it gonna last? Obviously not.
No,
because we've already seen pictures of the show that they're gonna be in. I can't remember what it's called.
And maybe it's the comment from She-Hulk about the
yeah, it very
maybe
much could
like
be, which actually would be cool. I would actually appreciate that.
Spray paints it out or something.
Yeah, I would actually appreciate that, honestly. Yeah. That tidbit of information could carry something on into next projects and stuff like that.
Because theoretically, he did like, I know he has extra heightened senses, but he wouldn't know if his suit was pink, right? Like he's blind.
Yeah, he doesn't care what color his suit is.
No.
Other than, I guess, you know, he picks his business suits and stuff. Like he has some sense of style.
Sure. Well, somebody picks them, I would imagine.
The majority again of this episode I felt was just kind of like silly rom-com level stuff.
Yeah.
You know, where as much as I like to see Eugene, I think that's Eugene is a leapfrog or frogman.
Oh, okay.
Right, and has you know I didn't mind that he was silly, a silly character that I actually kind of enjoy. Right, puts rocket fuel in his suit.
Yeah,
voiding the warranty, obviously.
Yeah, and see, even that particular court scene was entertaining. Like, this episode had a number of entertaining elements.
But was that scene entertaining because of the characters around She-Hulk? Or was it entertaining because of She-Hulk?
That's just unfair now, though.
I understand you've got Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
Coming in and stuff. It was more exciting than other episodes have been. It felt more like what this show should be.
Yeah. Like, I enjoy the court scene pieces if they're done well.
And that was done well enough.
Yeah. Where it's,
it was enjoyable.
An interesting back and forth. Not a walk in, case closed, I win, leave.
There was a little bit of... There was some aspects to it that were layered.
And she lost.
Yeah.
So that was...
Well, I mean, it's Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
You know.
He's good at what he
does.
does.
And her client was a dummy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, other than that, what aspects do you take from this episode that are really important, right? My favorite scene in this is Daredevil's Walk of Shame.
Yeah, the Walk of Shame was
brilliantly done. I like how they had him in barefoot.
Yeah, carrying
his boots, doing the Walk of Shame, and then you think to yourself, like, is it fair to call it a walk of shame? And then her friend literally calls it a
Yeah.
walk of shame.
I
So
just
then you
saw a
feel
guy.
fine with calling it a walk
Yeah.
of shame, right? Because if I, happen to hook up with the She-Hulk, I wouldn't be ashamed,
No.
right?
But I
So
think,
is it a walk of shame?
well, you're just walking away with your rumpled old clothes.
I just think seeing a hero
Yeah.
full suited up, just carrying his boots, gives a little wave,
Yeah.
walk of shame,
He's whistling. He's a happy guy.
Yeah, um, his senses are like really, really heightened. I wonder, like, if that's,
Are you?
when he hooks up,
I would think so.
it's got to be really intense for him,
I would think.
right? But he also hooks up with Jen.
Who's Jen? Oh, Jen. Yeah.
Who's
I was
Jen?
like, who's Jen? Oh. Yes.
No, he doesn't hook up with She-Hulk.
No. Well, you don't know what happened in there.
Well, I know,
Could have
but
been a little back and forth play.
so I did enjoy their interactions at the bar.
Yep.
And his little advice and stuff like that. And it sounds like he's kind of trying. This might be the turning point where she becomes more than just a lawyer.
Yeah.
That whole bit where she has the opportunity to do what's right in the courtroom and then do what's right outside of the courtroom.
Do what's necessary.
Yeah, makes me feel like that whole, you have the opportunity to do something when the law fails.
That's right.
I'm hoping that's a turning point where she becomes not only a lawyer but a superhero.
Yeah. What'd you think of Super Suit?
The supersuit was fine. The supersuit was great.
Loved it.
Okay, it was very reminiscent of like some comic book suits that she's worn and stuff like that. I was very happy to see that and stuff like that. As much as I don't really enjoy the character that makes the suits and stuff, I kind of find that character a little bit annoying to a point. I do enjoy his product.
Yeah, it's a good product.
Well,
and I think that's kind of his character.
Yeah.
Like the other heroes are mostly just annoyed with how much of a diva he is.
Yeah.
But his product
is
so worth it that you have to.
And they did attest to that with the whole thing where he doesn't make mistakes. He just
and then got mad and cut Jen off, which I thought was funny. It was like I kept thinking about Seinfeld, the soup Nazi episode.
Yeah.
The no soup for you.
No soup for you. I will say one thing, okay, that I don't know if I was bothered by it or confused by it. They made a big deal about this super suit place being a covert place.
Yeah.
It was under an incognito or fake business to cover it up so that it wasn't a public thing. And then they have no problem bringing it to light and just talking about it like it's a normal place. So I was a little confused of why they made a huge point about it being a secretive place. And then they talk about it like it's an open place that anybody can walk into.
Well, if you have enough money or you're famous.
I just think I could have done without them playing it off like it was some sort of secret.
Who was talking about it? Like Daredevil.
They're talking about it in an open court.
Oh yeah, I guess they were. Right.
So
not too much of a secret.
No, like there's your cover blown. You might as well just put your sign up. So I don't know if there's more to that than what I'm seeing. If there's any information you can give me on that, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Anything else you want to bring up about this episode?
Jen mentions to the audience a foreshadowing piece about a Red Hulk.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I think I would like to see that, and I think that we would all like to see Red Hulk in the Thunderbolts.
That's right. Well, he's got to be.
So
It only makes sense.
Other than that, I don't have a lot more to say other than this was a better episode for anybody who might like to, comment about us being babies, about the way we feel about this show. We're not like my opinion about this is purely my opinion about this. You can have your own opinion. If you like it, great. I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
I don't.
Up until this point,
Yeah, I've not.
I've not really enjoyed it much. But this was just that tad bit more enjoyable than some of the other episodes.
Yeah.
And I have high hopes that it's going to lead up to we've got one more episode.
One more.
Hoping
Now.
it leads up to a pretty fantastic ending, just to close it up nicely and stuff. And leaving some stuff open to interpretation of where things are going to go. Let us know where you think things are going to go.
You can tell by our demeanor that we're actually not as upset as we were.
Yeah, I was definitely a little bit more open to this episode than I have been to other ones.
Yeah.
You know?
So if we just scrap the whole center section, we'll do episode 1, 2, 3, leave the rest out, and then do this.
I recently watched, which we'll get into in another video, hopefully. I recently watched Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
And it being a kind of a one-shot, like 55-minute episode thing, I think that She-Hulk would have fit nicely in something like that sort of treatment. You know?
Yeah.
I think they stretched it out over a period that wasn't necessary. I don't think it needed a 9-episode series.
No.
And it would have, I think, been better suited for something like that, where you get an hour of She-Hulk and they go through it, and it would have made a nice thing, and it would have sat well, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Take all the fluff out of it.
Just give us the straight story.
Like I like how this episode started out by recapping the worst parts of the series.
Yeah.
It started out by recapping her twerking and all this stuff, and it just recapped everything bad that's been happening in this.
Yeah. Just random nothing.
You know?
It was weird.
And a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, well, get off your high horse about that, whatever. She-Hulk can have a little fun. And yes, she can. It's clear that She-Hulk has a little bit of fun here and there. All right? So, let's get to rating this.
Where are we at?
Mind.
I don't even know where I'm at with my rating.
I haven't been rating this very high.
No.
In fact, at one point, I believe I gave one of the episodes a flat-ass 0.
You said straight. Yeah, you gave it a straight 0.
Okay. I'm obviously going to come up a little bit from my 0 rating.
Are you?
Okay.
Sure. This episode. Don't try not to think about.
I would have to say, I know you said just now, don't think about other episodes.
Trying.
But this is probably my second favorite episode.
Okay.
The first one being the best one, I think, obviously. This one being my second favorite.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to give this, and this is a very, honestly, coming from a 0, a very optimistic score of a flat 5.
And I am going to double down on your flat 5. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
So I think that both of us would agree a flat 5 bananas.
That's so much better than we've been dealing with.
Which is a pretty good score so far for this show.
Yeah.
And we'd like to thank you for joining in. You know, tell us your feelings. How's this show been for you? Are you a She-Hulk lover?
Or a hater?
Let's rephrase, because I don't hate
a
She-Hulk.
disliker. No.
I don't hate She-Hulk. I haven't been a fan of this particular show. And I think
do you like the show or do you not?
They could have done a better job.
They could have.
With this character and highlighting this character.
I agree.
Thanks again for watching. Share, like, hit that bell, you know. Hearts.
That's lungs. You got lungs.
It's an apple.